this episode, we're headed minutes away from Philly, down the road from where Washington's troops weathered a harsh winter at Valley Forge. But food won't be a problem for us, as we visit Teresa's Cafe and Teresa's next door in Wayne, Pennsylvania. Owner Andy Dickerson runs one of the best food and drink spots in the area. We sit down for some surprisingly serious talk about what they do and how they're coping with the coronavirus. Welcome to No Pants During the Pandemic. Hi, I'm Kevin Brooks, and this is No Pants During the Pandemic. Today I'm speaking with Andy Dickerson, owner of Teresa's and Teresa's Next Door in Wayne, Pennsylvania. Hey Andy, how you doing?
Good, Kevin. Nice to see you. Been a while.
Too long. Why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Hi, I'm Andy Dickerson. I'm a chef and co-owner of Teresa's Cafe and Next Door Bar in Wayne, Pennsylvania.
And what's Teresa's?
Teresa's Cafe began in 1997 as an Italian BYOB.
What type of Italian food do you specialize in?
That's always a tough question for me to answer, what kind of Italian we do over there, what our specialties are. We always used to be very far from your typical Italian restaurant around here. We tried to stay more classical with some modern influences, but we still have classic things like, a bolognese and an excellent tiramisu, yet we still have to make things like Caesar salad and chicken parm to keep the lights on. But that's only been in recent years we've had to add the chicken parm. But it's ultimately the most successful dish right now for takeout.
When did you start working there?
I started as just a line cook making pasta in early '98, and within a year I was the general manager, just because I had previous management experience at pizza shops and stuff. Mike gave me a chance to run it and let me go, and we did really well.
How'd the Next Door side come about?
I think about 8 or so years of just running an Italian BYOB. I was kind of burning out. And we found out that the paint store next to us was becoming available, and I took my now business partner, then boss, Mike Ellis, and my other friend, Matt Geyer from the Beer Yard. We went around the city to a few places. We went to Monk's Cafe, Tria, Standard Tap, and I just wanted to show Mike what I thought our little suburban bubble out here in Wayne needed.
It started as a Belgian beer bar, but it's kind of morphed into something else over the past decade.
We've evolved all the time. We got into beer, the second coming of craft beer in the area, before others. We were on the good side of the curve there, and we've been honest about it since. Like, when we evolved into whiskey, it's only because when Chris Peters joined. He's huge into Belgian and craft beer, but he also loved his whiskey. We grew the back bar, we took it to a new level, and we weren't chasing something. We were doing what we liked to do. When it came to natural wine, he and I drank a lot of unfiltered orange wines together before we ever started the program because we liked them, and then realized that, hey, this is a thing. He pushed back against every one of our purveyors that we had known for years, who scoffed at it, thought it was some lambic-y wine joke. What might have been attractive initially to natural wine was oh man, this is like a cool goose or a cool lambic. But what held true is we persevered. We believed in the farming standards. We believed in why these things should be made and how they're better for the environment not to spray. We might not go crazy about it and say, oh, you have to bury a steer's horn on the full moon at the northeast point of your property, whatever. We're not that obsessive, but at the same time, we don't want you spraying your grapes that I'm going to drink. We don't want you using other pesticides and machinery that's unnecessary. If your winery is gravity driven, great. Why use a machine? Why use a pump? Why damage the juice? There is a thing to that even I questioned along the way of what does a pump do? But I'll be honest, I know that a pump changes the product. So if things can be gravity fed, things being grown right, and the farming standards are right, the juice is better. And the juice makes better wine. Better juice makes better wine.
So Chris is kind of leading the charge for you with natural wine.
Chris is not just an underachiever, he's like the underappreciated fucking savant of this. He knows more about natural and biodynamic wine than any somm either of us have met, because somms are taught old school stuff. Their whole somm program is not adapted to the reality of today, and sadly the reality of today is just pre-World War II. We're just making things the way it used to be made, properly, carefully, without adjuncts, additions of yeast or chemicals and sulfites. From whiskey, and especially in the natural wine, he brought us to a level that our beverage program became relevant, like nationally, if you will. To his credit, I don't think that we would have had the 2018 James Beard nomination for Outstanding Bar Program without him. But if we were just a craft beer bar now, we wouldn't be having this interview. Like this, we would have been dead in the water. Everyone opened a craft beer bar these days. Like, who cares? Like, we evolved our beverage, but not based on like following trends. We're just looking for something else to drink.
Alcohol aside, what are the two restaurants all about?
We thrive on quality. We probably don't charge enough sometimes for how much I spend on the food, but we won't serve garbage. We won't buy the cheapest thing. We buy something we want to eat ourselves or feed our families. We try to source locally when it makes sense. We can't always, though, but we do try to source responsibly and sustainably. We respect how things are farmed. We respect how, things are raised humanely. We do our best not to buy any commodity products that would, go against those standards. And this has always been something that's been hard for us to describe on a menu or promote, because it just takes too many words and too much space.
Why is this a priority for you?
This country is pretty removed from where their food comes from. I know everyone says, oh, not all food comes in, styrofoam and cellophane, but for most of this country it does. Like, I'm not saying people need to raise and kill their own chickens necessarily, but they need to understand and respect that the meat on their plate was a living creature. I'm not trying to go vegan on you because I'm an omnivore, I'm never going to stop that, but people need to have respect for where their meal comes from. With our country's one of the worst, with like nearly 40%, I don't know the exact number, it's like close to 40% at least that we waste in food. And at the same time, we have 1 in 6 children food insecure, 1 in 8 adults food insecure in this country. It's disgusting. I'm not bothered by much, but that actually bothers me. Like a lot.
Let me switch gears. You travel a lot. So how has that affected you and your brand?
Travel has made me a better person, and it's made me a better cook. Like, travel's made this restaurant strong. Like, I think a lot of my travel has improved these restaurants. My staff always appreciates when I travel. They come back and they're like, what are you going to put on the menu now? You must have found something. And most of the time they're right. Whether I go to Belgium, whether I go to Scotland, whether I go to Germany, I bring back everything to share it with the community. Like, we all want different food. We all can't eat the same thing. And I want to taste it authentically before I put it on.
You mentioned Scotland, and last summer you and I went there together.
I miss Scotland, my friend. I do. I can't wait till we can go back. I want to go eat at Scranton Scally. I want to have steak pie for dessert, and then dessert.
So what did traveling there, not just last year, but your other trips too, what did that teach you?
I did not appreciate Scotch until I stood in multiple kilns on top of the malt as the peat smoke was coming across me. I didn't appreciate peated whiskey until that point. I mean, I could drink them, but they might have tasted like Band-Aids or ugh to me. Now, I love them because I stood in these kilns and appreciated the history. There's a scent, there's an aroma, there's a time and a place, and it's all back to travel. Like, travel makes our brand, the Teresa's brand, stronger. It's not just me that travels. Chris travels for wine throughout Europe too. Like, he and I have different travels now. We used to travel together, now we travel differently. Almost every one of our servers in Next Door has been to Belgium, been to Kentucky. We're not making a false suggestion here. We've been to those places, and stories sell. And it's not about sales, it's about genuine, like, I think you will appreciate this. I think that's what sets us apart. And right now, not being able to go anywhere is rough.
But I guess that brings us to the pandemic. What's Teresa's been doing since the shutdown began in mid-March?
So right now, what we're offering is curbside pickup for wine, beer, cider, as well as our limited food menu, as well as delivery. We're not known for delivery, so delivery has been a slow uptake. And I am unwilling to use third-party delivery companies. I would much rather support my people than others. Nearsighted though it may be, to be on their platforms, to be exposed to more people, I would rather support the people that I'm trying to employ than a driver that doesn't care about my restaurant, my food, or my client. I'm not trying to take work away from them either, but if I all of a sudden sign with Grubhub or Caviar or any of the third parties now, that'd be a slap in the face to the drivers who were bartenders, servers, whatever with me before, that are helping me wash dishes and clean the floor.
So what's been working for you?
You know, food now, other than when Chris promotes expensive wine, food is over 60% every day. Our retail wine program has been huge. Growlers of beer has been a huge part of our business. Almost every order has a Russian River growler, a Dahari growler, several bottles of wine. Our wine retail finally has really come in its own and shown how important it is.
I guess Pennsylvania's state-run liquor stores being completely closed and only now opening slowly up must have helped.
That, I think, is what has made us of value to the community right now, is when they couldn't find wine somewhere for Easter or Mother's Day, we have it, but we still have stuck to our standards. Everything we still sell is either organic or biodynamic or natural, if you want to call it.
Before all this started, how many people did you have working for you at Teresa's?
January, February, if you will, we probably had 40 to 45 people. I'd say 35 of them were full-time, about 10 part-timers. And now we're down to 7 or 8 of us.
And a lot of the staff's been with you for years.
One cook been with me 20 years. The other cook's been with me over 16 years. Chris Peters, my bar manager, has been with me now 11 years.
A lot of the servers have been there a long time too. What are the ones you have working there right now doing for you?
So we have Shane, who's at or over 10, Josh, well over 10 years. Even Cliff is well over 9 years at this point, and they're all delivering, washing dishes, and doing prep. Because I can't afford to bring in a dishwasher specific. Like, we all do dishes. We all are taking part in this. Do any of us want to? No. But at the same time, you know, we all are being humbled. And I think, you know, everyone that is here, and we've kept a small group for safe reasons and longevity reasons, hopefully, that, I don't know, everyone understands that they have to do things that they normally wouldn't do right now.
When this is all over, do you plan on bringing everybody back?
Ideally, yeah, I would like to bring everybody back. Like, you know, there's no one I can think of that I don't want to bring back. Like, everyone is welcome, but the welcome is going to come slow. Because if we're only allowed to partially open, I can't invite everyone back at once.
How do you choose who comes back first? I mean, it's got to be hard.
We've stuck with kind of a seniority / skills-based system. You know, if you only knew one station in the kitchen, not 4, you're lower on the list than the person that can work every station. out of our 6 or 7 stations. You know, in the front of the house, if you know you only work for us part-time for a year, you're probably not going to be back as soon as the people that have been here forever that can do 2 sides, that have the knowledge. I want to bring everybody back, but the way we're going to be allowed to open is possibly less feasible than what we're doing now. I know it is.
How so? I guess you'd have to hire more staff back, but you couldn't necessarily serve all the customers you normally would.
Right, I would need to triple my staff and the expensive staff, the kitchen, where I'm running with 2 cooks and myself compared to like 7 or more cooks, plus dish, plus prep, plus everything in the front right now. Like, I'm running with less than 20% staff that costs anything right now. What I'm doing now it's not sustainable forever, but it's actually more sustainable than what I will call the false reopening for restaurants. Because the moment I open my door, I have to go back to closer to a full menu. I have to go back to more levels of service, a greeter, a temperature. I'm gonna have to take temperatures of people's foreheads with an infrared thermometer that you can't even buy online right now without a 10, 12-day wait. Because I combed the 34 pages of the pre-release of the CDC guidelines that's not official yet. I combed it for what affects us. Now they've changed it in the last 2 weeks to bars aren't allowed to open, restaurants are. So you can't sit at the bar counter. You could only sit every other booth, and I'd have to have 3, maybe 4 tables of 2 up here. So my max capacity is going to be like 22 people.
So overall, you'd be bringing in less money, and your costs would actually be higher.
The constraints they're going to put on us to reopen are worse than doing curbside and limited delivery right now. And that's fucking frustrating because I've furloughed over 80% of my people that have, worked here for years. Like, our staff's been here for a long time. I think it's shitty that I can't give them all jobs right now.
But even when you can, bringing them back isn't just as easy as inviting them back to work.
I have to know where they've been. Because one person hanging out with the wrong people could shut us down. We've gotten through 6 weeks now, and I don't want to ruin that.
Did you guys receive any government aid?
No, and we're actually not even applying the second round because even by the end, I wasn't sure if I wanted it before we were shut down. We were like on the cusp of like being one of the last people to get it in this area for our bank. I'm glad we didn't get it because the people that we're collecting, they're full, the max plus 6. If they only worked a 42-hour week at $18 an hour or something, they're making more money hanging out at home right now than they are working for me 40 plus hours. And the moment I offer them that money, they lose that benefit. And the moment they lose that benefit, they might be able to refile for the unemployment again. They'll lose the 6, is my understanding. And I could be wrong on that, but it's what it seems like. And if I don't offer it to everyone, or 90% or more of them, I don't get my loan forgiven.
You're kind of walking a razor's edge.
It's terrible. Like, it doesn't work. Also, with how do I handle tipped employees? Like, what do they make? Like, there's so many questions for this industry. Now, does it work for other industries? Yes, the PPP does. For my business, I don't feel it works.
Have you been able to do anything for your laid-off employees?
I'm trying to feed the people that I can feed, but if they live in Philadelphia, I don't expect them to come out, even if I offer a free meal. But the few families around here that I know need it, I've been feeding at least once a week. It's a nice gesture, but it still doesn't help me sleep. Like, it still is, yeah. I'm not trying to be more somber or have a dark interview.
I don't think you are, but I think people need to know what's happening and what could happen.
I do lose sleep over these people not making money. Like, it's killing me. Like, I wish I had enough money to help these people personally more.
How's the community responded?
There's a lot of people right now that are just literally trying to keep their favorite places open, and I'm lucky to be one of them. We are lucky to be one of them. I'm grateful to be here because these people still are trying to support not just my business, but all the local businesses. Like, they are being great. They're just literally eating out, 3 or 4 times a week still and just rotating through who. I'm not out in the front right now. I'm in the kitchen all the time. But I see the same names on tickets sometimes 6 out of 7 nights a week. I see names I grew up with from high school. Used to be a once a month customer, now a weekly customer.
That's great.
People don't want their town to go away. And they know we're hit hard by this. Sadly, I believe this is only the beginning of the hard hit, because the opening, the social distance / false open, is actually going to be more difficult than what we're going through right now to a point. What guest is going to want me to take their temperature at the door? What guest is going to want to be in a restaurant that has a max capacity that was 70, now down to 20?
And there's the risk of a second round of the virus. How would that affect you?
I truly do not know if we partially open, falsely open, if I like to call it, or even fully open, and all of a sudden we get shut back to this again. I do not know if my business can weather this twice. I'd rather wait longer, as painful as it is, and be safe, than to rush any opening right now. Because 2 times like this, I don't know. Like I said, I've read all of the unreleased CDC guidelines I can get my hands on and know what we're getting into to plan. I don't expect to open for months. Properly open.
I understand. Is there anything you've been missing during all of this?
I miss going out to eat. I think my biggest job in life wasn't working here. I think my biggest job in life was literally economy stimulator. Spending every dime I have eating out at every restaurant, drinking at every bar. Well, good ones anyway.
And dragging your friends with you to those places too.
Yeah, but to share those times, those conversations, I miss those.
Me too.
Right before we got locked down in Pennsylvania, I had gone to visit my parents in Maine. And the night before I drove home, I got to go to Oxbow, their beer garden, they call it, but it's not really just a beer garden. It's their it's awesome pizza. I've made pizza my whole life, and it's killer pizza. Somehow I knew it was gonna be one of the last times. They had a dead cover band playing. We're eating great pizza with my friends and colleagues in this industry. There was something resonating in my head of this is the time before it changed. 4 days later, I had to close my restaurant. They have 35 people who count on this for their income, their mortgage, their rent, their kids.
Do you want a second?
You warned me.
I did. I'm sorry.
Listen, it doesn't make it, it's not going to make me sleep better. These are all things I think about.
Still sorry.
You didn't think I actually cared about people before. Me neither.
I know. I thought you were a cold, callous bastard.
I totally am.
All right. I know you need to get back to the kitchen to prepare for dinner. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
For real, I knew in our conversation a week ago when you were sometimes these conversations, you discover things about someone who you had as a friend forever, you learn more. And I only realized that at the beginning of this, that I haven't had to verbalize many of those things. Sure, can I talk about Teresa's? Ugh, I hate it, but I can. But I haven't, especially in the COVID weeks of shutdown, I try to internalize the negative and not even negative, the sad parts. I try to hold it back because I have to be here for my staff. I have to be here for them and keep morale up. Morale is more important than sales. Because if my staff is happy, my staff has good morale, it works. I don't want to work with negative people, and I try not to be that negative person.
Yeah.
answering these questions has actually been helpful. Can I lay on a couch, Doc? I should lay on a couch, Doc.
I'll send you my bill. So, what's driving you now?
Fear of failure. Fear of losing my dream. That's why I'm here 80 hours a week. Fear of not being able to employ the people that I used to. Fear of failure has always been a good motivator for me. But right now it's compounded by people that can't pay rent, can't feed their family. It's just a lot to think about right now. These are literally the times I wish I had a job at the post office.
The post office?
Maybe not the post office, but, you know, like, you know, being an employer isn't always easy. As I said, morale is hugely important. Always has been, because it keeps people motivated. You know, you can caffeinate people all you want, give them some alcohol here and there, but, like, one of the biggest motivators is just morale. Like, we're here to do a good thing. We're still feeding the community. But it kills me that 80% of my staff doesn't have a paycheck right now, or a reason to leave the house and feel like they're contributing. You know, 'cause for all the people that are getting assistance, that's great. But I think humans need to feel like they're contributing.
Yeah, I agree.
As I said, like, I'm so grateful I get to work every day, all day. Not enough people can right now.
You know, like it or not, you're kind of a role model now.
Yeah. That's what everyone forgets to remind you. Being a role model is shit. I can't get gloomy. I have to maintain positivity. I have to push morale. I have to make it happen.
It's all good.
I hope you didn't expect me to be the depressing one.
I did not. All right, Andy, thanks for sitting down for the interview and opening up to me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, man. It's a pleasure. It's good to see you. Good to chat. Hopefully we get to have a drink in person again soon.
Looking forward to it. I'll talk to you soon. If you'd like to learn more about Teresa's Cafe and Teresa's Next Door, or maybe order some tasty food for pickup or delivery from them, check out the website. The link is in the video's description. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.